Hey, what's up, everybody? You're here with Brothers Forge Gaming, and this is King's Bounty 2 on the PlayStation, well, 4 and 5. So, those of you who have tuned in to the live streams, we appreciate it. If you guys want to go check out the full playthrough, it's a 3-part video series for the full playthrough. I'm working on that last act right now, so look for that to come out. Also, we have several walkthroughs for that for the Scryer's Trials, say that 3 times fast, and several other various of the harder puzzles. I did individual videos of those. So if you guys want to check those out, they're all under King's Bounty and their respective titles. What we're going to do right here, because this is a really long game, this is a strategy game, it's an RPG, it's got tons of story, just endless amounts of quests almost. What I want to do is break down, just real quick for you, well, real quick for me, in terms of speed, but show you kind of what the game's about in a shorter span of time, because those walkthroughs are 30 hours of gameplay that probably 60 hours of gameplay condensed down into 30 hours of video. So it's a big game, and I did almost every quest. If you guys want to check that out, I think there was like 3 or 4 quests I didn't complete that I actually can go back and complete if I wanted to. After you beat the game, it kind of tells you like you're not going to be able to go back, but you do get to go back and finish those quests if they haven't expired or whatever. But yeah, if you're looking to watch that full playthrough, like I said, it's several videos there to go check out, plus walkthroughs if you're stuck. I did some of the harder puzzles. But if you're looking to get this game right here, if you like strategy RPG games with epic story, pretty good graphics, the scenery in this game has excellent graphics. The character models are a little bit, squishy, washy, whatever you want to call them. And then when you get into the battles, you can zoom up, but still the models aren't the greatest. But that's pretty much my only complaint about this. There's a few glitches here and there, but overall, this game is incredible. It has a wonderful kind of like ambience and subtle soundtrack built into the game that you're going to enjoy as you play through the game. Unfortunately, in my playthrough, I kind of had to turn that down or off because they kept blocking and claiming my videos, and I was unable to stream the game. Basically, the first set, what I called like the first 10 hours or whatever, I streamed, and then the rest I did offline recordings and had to fight them to get the videos up and stuff. So anyway, long story short, this is what you're looking at. You get a choice between 3 characters. I don't know if they're going to add any more characters, but you basically have your warrior, you've got your mage, and then you've got your hybrid. So probably like a mix between the warrior and the mage, and your paladin. So as you play through the game, you're faced with choices throughout the game, and we're going to get into that. I'll show you the disciplinary trees and different things that you can do that will actually prevent you from making certain choices throughout the game. So if you want to play to your character, or you want to play the heal, the villain, you want to do the turn, you want to be like warrior turned order guy, you can do that. Although the warrior cannot use magic, which kind of makes it stifling there. You can use scrolls and stuff, which was confusing. You gain mana, but I couldn't figure out how to use that. I don't know if they're patching in an ability to learn that down the road. But realistically, you could play the villainous mage, or you could be the good paladin, then all of a sudden turns evil or whatever. The warrior, you're pretty stuck in there. But that's one thing about the game, is that you can spec into any, regardless of the character you choose, you can spec any way you want. Although within the character build, there are limitations. So that was a little bit misleading. But in a lot of ways, you have the freedom to do whatever you want with your character. And I'm going to kind of show you that here. I'm going to go over my build. I'm going to show you all the quests and different things that I've done in the game. Real quick, we're going to take a look at the map. There are some rather lengthy loading screens. I don't know how they are on the PS4. They're probably, 30 seconds at the longest on PS5. The front, the first time you load being the longest, and then certain times where you go between there's basically like different worlds you can go into. Those have longer loading screens too, but most of the game is pretty seamless. So there are no loading screens within the map, which is awesome. And that's part of the reason it takes so long to load, is that it loads this whole area for you to explore. So basically you start the game out here, right? And you quest. I may have missed some stuff in here. There's a trophy for getting all these obelisks, basically the fast travel ports. I thought I got them all, so I might have to go back through and look for those, but maybe I missed them in here. Anyway, you start out there, you kind of work your way around here. I may have missed an obelisk right here. I don't even think I can get back in here because this quest closes it off. So either there's a part that'll expand and let you come back through here, or I just messed it up and it was a timed thing that I won't be able to get. So, and that's the thing too. If you're playing this game for the platinum, you're in for a really rough time. The percent I think is 0.3. It's not impossible. It's just very time consuming. and you're probably gonna have to do a lot of save file manipulation as to where you're gonna, because you're faced with a quest. Well, first of all, you have to beat the game with all three characters and max out their levels and get all their everything and max out the discipline trees. It's a ton of stuff. It's at least 3 playthroughs, at least, and that's if you're not manipulating save files, because you're faced, like I said, you're faced with choices. So you could do one branching pathway in a quest line, and that could be your whole run because you might miss one of the other trophies. You know what I mean? So you want to make sure to be using multiple saves, backing up your saves, stuff like that, in case that if you are going for that trophy, it might make it a little easier for yourself. So anyway, you start here. This is a rather small scope. You get here, you're like, oh, okay, this is pretty chill. I'm going to go to the next map. Maybe it'll be a similar map, maybe a little bigger. And then you're like, boom, oh my God. I was like, holy crap, right? So then you kind of work your way into here. I forget where you come in from. Anyway, somewhere in here. You come in here. This is the first town. This is basically Marsala. So we got Marsala to the Mage Tower is basically our first video, where we do all the quests in here, all the quests that lead here. The map is kind of tricky as to how it leads you. It's not straightforward. You can there's closed off places. You can kind of only go a certain way. Anyway, then you come around, you do some quests here. You're ultimately trying to get in here, which is the Mage's Tower, right? And then you're going to do a ton of quests in here. They're going to send you back to where you came. They're going to let you go forward. You're going to be able to progress. You're going to come up over here. You're going to go through all here. I feel like I might have missed out something here. And again, you're making these quest choices that might have made me miss some quests in certain places. Ultimately, you're going to come through down here. And this is what they talk about basically through the whole game, is the Mage Factory, there was an incident and it caused this to have like a toxic environment that was doing all, and creating all these problems for the whole Crown lands. And anyway, you eventually get to here. It's actually, the way the buildup is, I don't want to really spoil anything, but by the time you get here, you're like, man, this is like intense, right? So check that out. Like I said, the full playthrough, man, it's pretty tough. And again, being able to make those choices and play with the different characters, there's a ton of replay ability built into this game. So if you're somebody who enjoys these kinds of games, you're going to have probably hundreds of hours within this game, especially if you're trying to platinum it and do all that. Then there's actually like a kind of a hidden dungeon down here. One of the things I didn't mention and meant to mention in the game is that this is how you get red dragons. And I have a quick video on how to beat the puzzle that takes you here. But you basically, in the first town, you have to buy a scroll from a guy back in Marsala. It tells you find a note that says, go find this scroll, and this guy sells you a treasure map or whatever, and then eventually it leads you have to do some other quests, and eventually it leads you to this dungeon over here where you can get red dragons. And then there's another... Again, you're going to come over here, you're going to do all this stuff. You're going to be doing Scryer Trials if you want. Those are optional, and honestly, I don't recommend them. The Scryer Trials kind of really threw off the flow of the game. The challenges were really difficult, and I wish they would have put those at the end of the game or not at all, because, like I said, they really, I was one of those, I'm like, oh, I got to finish these, especially because I wanted to do a video to help people out. So it kind of really threw off the game for me, and I wish that they would have done those differently. But anyway, ultimately where is that dang place? You get over here where you're on a quest. Oh, I missed a chest there. Where you're on a quest to find these tablets. And this is eventually where you're going to end up. This is where you can buy bone dragons. So those, I believe, are the most powerful characters in the, creatures, minions, whatever, guys in your army that you can get are the red dragons, and the bone dragons are the strongest, I believe, in the game. Single unit characters. And then you're going to come over here. As you can see, I didn't do these. This puzzle I actually couldn't solve. There was a couple puzzles I couldn't solve in here, and there was one that was back over here by this windfall town. There's this cave, and it has a chest in it. It's like right here, and there's this five thing puzzle. I couldn't find any information on it, so maybe it's because of the way I did with my quest path. I didn't get that little bit of information I needed, or maybe it's somewhere within this area. There's all these different notes, so maybe you have to read it and figure it out. So those are the two puzzles I couldn't figure out. But anyway, that's a basic overlook of what you're going to be seeing as you're coming through. After you beat the game, I guess it puts you back in this field here. So it just throws you back in there. Let's take a look at these quests. Okay, so it won't even let me open the main quest anymore, but we can look at those in complete. So anyway, these are some of the ones I didn't do. So I'm missing one here. I'm assuming these are probably in a couple of the areas that I didn't go to, or they're just super hidden somewhere I had to go back to find. Maybe they weren't letting you pick these items up until you got the quest for them, and they're all the way back in like the first town or who knows where. You know, I didn't feel like going back and through and looking for that. I would like to find these paintings, and if you look at the trophies for these, they're the lowest trophies. Like only basically the people who platinumed the game went back and did these things. I don't know what happened to this quest here. I could never find it. It was never on the map, so I don't know if it was glitched or I have to actually like go somewhere and touch a rock and, you know, whatever. I might have to read about that. And this is the one too where you get, no matter what you do here, because you're not a mage, and some of the choices I made, I couldn't use Belinda's codes even though I procced the quest. So I had to use force, and you get trapped in this room, and it's like this super impossible puzzle that I can't figure out, and I just got tired of it. So luckily I saved before I went in there. So yeah, that's anyway. But you know, this is just, and within a quest, you know, there's tons of different quests. So that's not uncommon. Most of these are not like one quest. You're doing multiple quests as you're going through. Quest. I keep saying quest. Anyhow, so yeah, as you're going through the game, this is just an idea for you to see how much you're going. And anywhere you see these red X's is where I made a choice. Oh, cool.
Yeah, you got cool.
Okay, that's cool. Oh, he lies down like that. She's playing Pokemon Go, our new biggest craze right now. But anyway, as you're going through, you're seeing, you know, you're making these choices, and these are some of the, you know, basically like the moral choices we'll show you here in the next bar. But so here I made this choice, and this is dependent on the trophies as well. You're supposed to be making these, you know, choices as you go through. They're going to affect the storyline and the ability to get some of the trophies as you're going through the game. But yeah, as you can see there, I chose Anarchy. And it's interesting. Like I said, this is where it's going to give you replayability. You could either make sure to save before you make these choices and create a new save file so that you can then go back and make the other choice and get the trophy for it. But a lot of them are branching. So, you know, it's not just going to be one choice. It's going to be multiple choices as to where you had to do that. So think about that if you're trying to minimize your time going through playing this game, trying to get the platinum. But for me, like, I really enjoyed this game, but to get the platinum on this is just something I maybe don't want to do. A lot of time trying to go for those trophies can kind of diminish the experience you have in the game. A lot of time, if I can play a game and I really enjoy it and somehow basically get the platinum by just like playing through the game, those are the ones more or less I go through. If there's a, you know, like beat the game, no death run, speed run or something, a lot of time I'll go back and be able to do those too. But, you know, some of these where you just have to find every scrap of thing and do all that, it's a bit much for me. But that would be awesome to platinum this one for sure. So like I said, here's just a look at kind of some of the different stuff you're going to be getting into if you play the game. And I'm still going. These quests, these are all completed quests. And within those quests, you're seeing more. Here we go again with the questing. But yeah, I mean, that's a look real quick at that. Now, here's basically what I was talking about with the talent tree. So you've got 4 morality choices you can make, or I forget what they called them. I don't remember them at this point. It was like ideals or something. Yeah, order, ideal. So you're basically faced with these ideals, right? So you've got order, power, finesse, and anarchy, right? So these all affect, and then you have to get, so what was confusing to me is that not only do you have to have a certain amount of points to spend, as you can see in the middle here, the ring, you also have to get a certain amount of, because by making those choices, you get X amount of points towards your ideal. So if I only had, say, 5 points in Anarchy here, I would be limited only to making purchases from this first bar. So then, you know, it tells you as you're going through. So we'll look at this one. It'll tell you. So that one says, I need 8 finesse points. And that's what these numbers are in the middle. That was confusing to me. And then here it says, incapable of learning magic, but he has the maximum combat characteristics. I thought it would be kind of fun to just go through with the base fighter and go through, you know, sometimes the mages can be hard, sometimes it can be easy mode. So maybe it starts out that way, like Aviaire is easy, mage is medium, and paladin is hard, or maybe it's a mixture of just kind of the choices you make and the troops you use and different stuff. So within that, you know, you've got all these choices you've got to make that lead to that. This talent tree is a little confusing. Luckily, they let you respec, and you'll figure it out as you're going through. And then you can reset. The first time's free, and then it doesn't let you reset for a while, so don't freak out. It will let you again reset, but for 10,000 coins, which is a lot of coins. It's tough to come by resources in this game. Coins, soldiers, armor. It's all costly, and just do your best to do it. Make wise choices. Save often so that you can, oh shoot, I shouldn't have bought that, or I should have bought this other thing. Save your game before you make those choices, because it doesn't give you a lot of ability to like make the wrong purchases, and these troops can get expensive, and then you may find yourself in a position in the game where you do not have what you need to continue the game. You might have to start over. And that's one thing, and I actually meant to mention this. One thing I really enjoy about this game is that it gives you the feeling of playing a game from, say, like 2000, a PC game from like 2000, maybe 2010. I know it's a current gen game on a PS4, but you can play it on the PS5. It's a modern game. You want it to be that, lights out, all ending graphics, all the greatest things. But realistically, that's not always the best option, depending on what style of gameplay, gamer you are. You may enjoy some of these other things more than the top of the edge stuff. You're getting story, you're getting fun combat, RPG elements. You're getting all this different stuff that you wouldn't maybe get in a game that was more streamlined and just all about graphics and stuff. So do consider that. And that is one of the things I enjoyed most about this game, was just kind of the overall atmosphere, the ambiance, the feeling you get while playing it brought me back to playing games when I was a lot younger and, had more time to play these kinds of games. But yeah, here's a look at some of the troops that you can get. As you can see, they have statistics, and also you can level them up. So they rank up. Each time they rank up, they get stronger. They learn more abilities. So, if you're always switching your troops around, you may not have the strength you need to face the end of the game. This was my end build here. I actually had some more trolls. I had another set of these guys over here, but they actually got killed, and they wouldn't let some enemies, when they kill your guys, you can't revive them. So at the end of the battle, if your whole troop isn't wiped out, you can revive them, and you want to utilize that because it's cheaper than going and rebuying units. And at first, the units are really limited. They're not going to let you just buy unlimited amounts of guys. Only certain vendors only carry certain amounts of guys. So that's another thing you run into. Also, you do get troops from battling. Like if you make a choice that gives you, like, these guys helped me out on a mission, and then I got to have them in my army afterwards. A lot of these guys, really. But yeah, my the build I beat the game with was, I didn't have these bone dragons here. I had these trolls, but I had 3 of them because I could hold 3. So that was basically what my in-game troop looked like. I had these golems. These sentries are badass here. They're high level 4. So the highest level you can get is 5, right? So basically there, as you can see, I had that. That's my leadership up there. So each guy, as you look at them, they require a certain amount of leadership. And also, you can't, so depending if you have, super high amounts of leadership, you can only carry a certain, like, each troop. See, so some of these guys over here have 10, right? So I can carry a maximum of 10 of these guys. So even if I had more leadership than's required, if I had, say, 10,000 leadership, you'd think, you could carry, 100 of those guys. No, it's set to a certain amount. I think 10 is the most I've seen. So some are 10. More the bigger guys are like 3, 4. Mostly, I think these guys are limited to 3, and then the big guys, I think you could carry probably 2 if you had enough leadership. But I don't know if you can get enough leadership currently in the game to have 2 red dragons, because they require so much leadership. But yeah, anyways, you can see some of their different stats there, and then they have tons of passive skills. There's a ton you can do with this game. But like I said, I wanted to show you my build, how I beat the game. Eventually, once I was able to afford these guys and find them, I just put them in my army. And then once I found the red dragons, it was basically over. So here's a look at my build. I actually was rocking this sword and shield over here before because I needed some leadership, but eventually I didn't need it, and that's part of a different set. I was unfortunately not able to build this whole set. As you can see, 4 of 6 here. If I would have gotten 2 more pieces of this armor, I would have been able to attack twice in a turn, which would just be busted, because if you look at my stats, I've got some crazy attack power over here, 97 warfare, and yes, you can go over 99. At one point I had stuff equipped that gave me 101, so I don't know what the maximum is. Is it 999? Could you ever even reach that high? But definitely goes over 99. Those of you old school gamers know a lot of time 99 is as high as you can get, because they only program in so many spots for the binary, right? But anyway, so as you can see here, I went with this king set because it gave me warfare and armor and critical hit, as opposed to leadership, which is nice. Leadership is nice, right? To get that extra bit. But a lot of time you end up either not having enough or having too much. So the balance there was a little off, if you ask me, in terms of the amount of leadership you have and the amount of leadership you need to be effective. So there's a lot of a balancing act here. But basically, I was going for that king set, or the Heroes Battle Armor would have been cool too, but it's less what I was built for. That's more of the tank build. I was more of like a DPS kind of guy, so I was going with that. This you find in that dungeon I showed you where you find red dragons. There's a bit of a puzzle there. It's not super hard. You basically just have to take the crystals and rearrange them and stuff. It's all built in there. I might do a video on that. If anybody needs help with that, I might end up doing that. We'll see. But yeah, eventually you get that towards the end of the game, and then you can recruit red dragons, and it's basically over. So yeah, that's a look at my build here. And again, there's a ton of different stuff you can get, different builds for different kinds of characters you want to build. Leadership, magic, strength. You get these scrolls you can use. You find a ton of just random items that you can sell, junk. Eventually you get a set of armor that is, it's like the merchant set. And then once you get that, so you could either wait. You're probably going to need to do that, because you need gold a lot at the beginning. So by the time you get this whole set, it's not really going to be helpful for you. But maybe when the expansion comes out, this will be a lot more helpful, being able to equip that full set and getting the extra boost to gold when you sell items. So you can either stockpile them up and only sell what you need, and then eventually once you get that full set, you'll be able to get more money for your stuff. But yeah, that's just a look at that, guys. So hopefully this is helpful to you in deciding, hey, do you want to play King's Bounty? Do you like strategy RPG games? Do you like a game with a good story and a decent amount of challenge? Like I said, this was no walk in the park. This was not an easy game by any means. The Scryer Trials were very challenging. And again, you're faced with these different choices that affect the outcome of the game. So I can play through this game with a different character, making different choices, and basically have a completely different experience in terms of story. I don't know what the battles do. Well, kind of one thing that happens is once you do enough of these battles, you realize kind of the mechanics. The hardest guys to fight were the hollow. Pretty much every other enemy was pretty easy. Once you start getting into the end game too, the enemies start casting mind control, which is a bitch to have to fight against, because they, even after you kill all of their troops, if they're still mind controlling one of your troops, you have to then wait for that timer to run out, so you could technically die. And I feel like the computer could keep mind controlling different troops and really kind of like make the game drag on. Luckily that didn't happen. One of the other busted mechanics was, I'll show you a guy that has it real quick because I am aware. So these guys right here, they have this ability called Taunt. I was almost going to do a video on this, but you could carry multiple troops. There's different troops that have this ability, probably enough of them to run a whole army of them, but I don't know how effective you'd be with that. But basically, if you taunt with this guy, no other enemy can attack anybody but this guy. So you could basically hide this guy in the corner, block him up, taunt, and then no one would be able to attack you, and you could kind of abuse that mechanic in the game if you want. So there were a few busted mechanics, if you ask me, in terms of combat, but I think they did an overall really good job in terms of balance and fairness and different things. Although, like I said, there are a few of those busted mechanics. There's some glitches, some different things. And of course, we could have our horse. If you didn't know, you'd get a horse, of course. And you can drive around the beautiful Crown Lands. I can't wait to see what's going to come next in this game. Like I said, the character models themselves aren't great, but we get a lot of nice graphics here with the water and the scenery. And it can be a little muddy at times, but as you can see, there's just so much stuff to enjoy in this game, a different variety, different flavor. You get all the different stuff that I've been talking about through this video. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Those of you that tuned into our live stream of this game while we were live streaming it, we appreciate it. That was a good time. Unfortunately, with live streaming, we'll see what happens. I know there's all this different stuff going on. Hopefully they can figure it out so we can stream and be able to bring these games in an interactive way. Other than not having to fight those difficulties. But yeah, if you guys enjoy what you see here, this is a worthwhile buy. There's several editions you can get. I recommend just getting the Lord's Edition if you can still get it. It's only $5 more, and it comes with a ton of stuff. There's also, it's not going to show me on here, but I'll show you here real quick. If you order the Lord's Edition, it comes with a day one. I don't know if it's still available. It's basically skins. I think you actually get that mount. So let's see here, these add-ons. So day one edition, you get these different things here. The Fire Eagles were busted. Flaming Eagles, I use those guys till I replace them with basically the dragons. They're so good. Yeah, so you get that Warhorse as well. and then the skin. So all of that, plus all the extra content that's going to be coming out for $5 extra versus the one. You could wait for the game to go on sale. I don't know if you'll still be able to get that day one edition if you wait. They may remove it from the store. I'm not sure. Either way you get the game, it's worth it. If you're not dying to play it right now, you got a backlog, definitely keep an eye on it for going on sale. It's totally an awesome game. It brings gaming, like I mentioned, one of my favorite things about it is it brings what it felt like to game many years ago, back in the day, we like to say. Brought that to the modern era, and you can get yourself a sense of that kind of gameplay style. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. You've been hanging out with Brothers Forge Gaming, taking a look at King's Bounty 2. Make sure to check out the full playthrough. It's a 3-part series video. Part 3 is coming out here pretty soon. I got that on the press right now. And then there's also some helpful hints and tips and tricks videos as well to help you with some of the harder puzzles. And of course, the full walkthrough of the Scryer's Trials. If you're having difficulty with those. Those are the toughest fights in the game, hands down. It gets pretty tough at the end. So basically, this is the kind of game, if you're not preparing for the end difficulty of the game, and again, this is like old school games. You could play through a whole game, get to the end of like a retro platformer, and it's just impossible. Because you have, like a Mega Man game. You got to beat all the hard bosses all at the end without, being able to continue or any of that stuff. And so in a sense, it's like that. You get to these last few battles and they are very difficult, and if you're not prepared and you're not doing the things you need to do to get there, you may have a tough time with those last battles. Well, alright guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you. We'll be streaming Diablo 2. It is out, the Resurrection, first time on console. So excited. So come on, check that out. And all of our other content. We're Brothers Forge Gaming. And we'll see you next time.